Your husband won't look at you. He sits by the fire. His eyes stare into the flames. You already know why. Her name has been said in the village, whispered near the well, spoken behind closed doors. She is younger. Her father is richer, and your husband wants her. Tonight, he will tell you something that could end your marriage. And in your world, that word means more than heartbreak. It means your home, your children, your whole life. This video takes you inside the life of a Viking wife, facing the one threat every woman in her world feared most: a husband who wants a second wife. Historians believe Viking marriages were built on more than love. They were built on land, animals, and family alliances. And when a husband found a wife who could bring more wealth or more sons, some men chose to take her too. By the end of this video, you will understand what a Viking wife could do when her marriage was threatened, and you will feel the strength it took for her to fight for her place at the fire. You might think a Viking wife had no power in this moment. You might think she had to accept whatever her husband decided, but it was not that simple, because Viking law gave women something most people today don't expect: the right to walk away, the right to divorce, and sometimes the right to win. This is the story of the fight to keep her home, and the courage it took to face a husband who no longer looked at her the way he used to. Your husband has not said a word all evening. He usually talks about the boat, about the harvest, about his brothers across the fjord. Tonight, only silence. Historians say this kind of silence was common before a hard conversation in Viking homes. A man carrying heavy news would often wait for the fire to burn low. He would wait until the children slept. You watch him from across the room. His hands, usually busy mending a net or sharpening a blade, sit still in his lap. That stillness frightens you more than words ever could. Imagine sitting beside him. Your hands still smell of wool from spinning all day. You can feel something is coming. Your stomach tightens with every breath he takes but doesn't speak. Outside, the wind pushes against the timber walls. Inside, the only sound is the crackle of the fire and your own heartbeat. Then he finally turns to you, and what he says next will change everything you thought you knew about your marriage. He says her name, not as an accusation, not as gossip, as a plan. He tells you he wants to bring her into the household, as a second wife. In Viking society, some wealthy or powerful men did take more than one wife. Records show this was more common among chieftains and rich farmers who could afford a larger household. A second wife often meant more hands to work the land, more children to carry on the family name, more alliances between families. Imagine the shock, not because it never happened to other women, but because you never believed it would happen to you. You built this home together. You bore his children. You kept his fire burning through the coldest winters. You remember the years when the harvest failed, and you were the one who stretched the last of the grain to make it last until spring. And now, he wants to bring another woman under your roof, to share your table, your bed, your life. But what he doesn't expect is what you say next. You reach for the keys hanging at your waist. In Viking homes, the keys belong to the wife. They opened the storehouse, the chest of silver, the larder full of dried fish and grain. The keys were more than tools. They were a symbol. They meant you ran this household, not him. Historians believe a wife's authority over the home was one of the strongest forms of power a Viking woman held. A husband could sail away for months at a time, trading or raiding across the sea. But the home, the food, the wealth inside those walls always stayed under his wife's control. Imagine holding those keys in your palm, feeling their weight, remembering every meal you prepared, every winter you kept your family fed when the storms wouldn't stop. You look at your husband and ask him one question. If she comes into this house, who holds the keys then? His silence tells you he hadn't thought that far. If you're enjoying this journey through history, please like the video and subscribe. It helps us bring more forgotten stories like this to life. You remind him of something else. Viking women were not powerless in marriage. Under Norse law, a wife could seek divorce. She could return to her father's family, and she could take her dowry with her. Records show that if a husband mistreated his wife or broke the terms of their marriage, she could bring her case before the thing, the public assembly where disputes were judged. Witnesses would speak, elders would listen, and sometimes the decision would favor the wife. Imagine standing before your husband, speaking with a steadiness you didn't know you had. Your voice does not shake, even though your hands do. You tell him that if he brings another wife into this home without your agreement, you will not stay to watch it happen. You will take your dowry. You will take your children. And you will walk out that door. His face changes. He did not expect you to have this much ground to stand on. For a man who spent his life commanding a ship, this moment feels like the first storm he cannot steer through. In your village, word travels fast. A man who mistreats his wife does not stay respected for long. Neighbors judge him. Other families remember. And future marriages for his children may suffer because of it. Historians believe reputation was one of the most powerful forces in Viking society. It could open doors or close them forever. A man's honor was tied to how he treated his household, not just how he fought in battle. Imagine your husband thinking of his brothers, his trading partners, the other families who might refuse him a good match for their daughters. If word spreads that he cast aside a faithful wife, think about the feasts he attends each season, the men who sit beside him at the long tables. Would they still trust his word? Would they still trade with him the same way? This is not just about you. It is about everything he has built. And slowly, you watch the confidence drain from his face. You didn't notice her at first. Your daughter, standing near the doorway, she heard everything. Her small hands gripped the edge of her tunic. Her eyes moved between you and her father. Imagine her fear, not just of losing her mother's place in the home, but of what kind of marriage she might expect for herself one day, if this is how it can end. Children in Viking homes learned about marriage by watching their parents. What they witnessed shaped what they believed love and loyalty should look like. Your daughter has watched you rise before dawn every day. She has watched you carry this family through hunger and sickness. Now she is watching to see if that strength was ever truly respected. You meet your daughter's eyes, and in that moment, you realize this fight is not only for yourself. You think of old Sigrid who lives 2 farms over. Years ago, her husband tried the same thing. He wanted to bring a younger wife into their home after a good trading season filled his pockets with silver. Sigrid did not scream, she did not beg. She simply packed her chest, gathered her sons, and walked to the thing to state her case before the whole village. Historians believe stories like this were remembered and passed between women, quietly, as warnings and as proof of what was possible. The elders ruled in her favor. Her husband lost more than a second wife that day. He lost standing among his own kin. Imagine carrying that memory with you now, like a small flame of courage. If Sigrid could face this and survive it, so can you. Your husband does not know this story lives in your mind tonight, but it steadies you all the same. Your husband finally speaks again. He says he never meant to hurt you, that he only thought of wealth, of strengthening the family. But now, faced with losing his household, his reputation, and his wife's loyalty all at once, he hesitates. Historians note that many Viking men who considered a second wife backed away once they understood the true cost. Divorce could mean losing land, losing allies, losing standing in the community. It could mean starting over with nothing, at an age when most men had already built everything they had. Imagine the silence between you now, different from before, not filled with dread, but with a question hanging in the air. Will he choose her? Or will he choose to keep what he already has? You don't wait for his answer that night. You bank the fire. You lay your daughter down to sleep. You lie awake beside a man whose heart you are no longer certain of, but you know one thing for certain. You are not a woman without power. You are not a wife who must simply accept whatever is decided for her. You are the keeper of the keys, the keeper of the home. And if he cannot see your worth, the law, your family, and your own hands are strong enough to carry you somewhere new. Historians believe many Viking wives faced this same choice. Some marriages ended. Some husbands turned back from the edge. Each woman carried the weight of that decision differently, but every one of them walked forward, keys in hand, ready for whatever came next. The fire burns low again tonight, but this time you are the one still sitting beside it. Somewhere across the fjord, another woman waits to hear if she will ever hold those keys, and somewhere in your heart, you carry the quiet strength of every wife before you who faced this same fire and did not look away. Your hands may be small, but they have always held more than anyone gave them credit for. If this story touched you, please like this video and subscribe for more true stories of women's lives throughout history. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment below. Thank you for watching.